sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim, and thank you all so much for all the love and support you shower me here with. I am grateful. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about the Jewish calling for the resignation of the first black female president of Harvard University. Why? Because she was asked a question. So she was asked if calling for the genocide of the Jews, if it violates the Harvard University Code of Conduct, which she said it depends on the context, right? And now they are saying that she is anti-Semitic. Why? For saying what she said, because it depends on the context, which is absolutely correct. Now they are calling for her to be fired. But as it stands, Harvard University is assuring us that nothing is going to happen to her, office and all that. And a lot of people are also out there trying to create awareness and tell them that nothing should ever happen to her position. Now, I am asking this. Why is it that when people speak against what is going on all over the world by Israel, you are anti-Semitic? But when you say that what they are doing is okay, you are a good person. Now everything is anti-Semitic. You can't even stand on the truth anymore without you being judged or without you losing your job. You know what? Let's get into this video.
So behind me is the president of Harvard, okay? And she was asked a very simple question. But don't forget that America is so racist that in America, a black woman can be the president of one of the most prestigious universities in the country. Or used to be maybe one of the most prestigious universities in the country. Because she is seriously damaging their reputation. But like I said, let's see what she said when asked a simple question.
So the answer is yes, that calling for the genocide of Jews violates Harvard Code of Conduct, correct?
Again, it depends on the context.
It does not depend on the context. She's saying, hey guys, on Harvard's campus, it's okay to call for genocide against Jews. Disgusting, she needs to resign. But something else about her is breaking currently. It's reporting that they've obtained documentation demonstrating that the Harvard president, Claudine Gay, plagiarized multiple sections of her PhD thesis, violating Harvard's policy on academic integrity. Bill Ackman, who's a billionaire who attended Harvard, said, I asked a senior member of the Harvard faculty to examine the below allegations of plagiarism against President Gay. The faculty member found them to be credible. He's a multi-billionaire and an alumni of Harvard. Probably has some good connections there. So interesting to see that that is coming out as well. Anyway, if you're going to run your campus where you allow people to call for the genocide of Jews on your campus and that does not violate your code of conduct, yeah, you need to go.
Dr. Gay is keeping her job. It's being reported by thecrimson.com that the Harvard president is going to be keeping her position with utmost support by faculty and alumni and the governing body of the university following the board's meeting this past week. More than 700 faculty members signed a letter to Harvard urging them to resist calls to remove Gay from her position. You also have unanimous support from the Alumni Associates Executive Committee at Harvard. They sent a letter on Monday to the university's governing board. This is how you show up as an ally. Come on now. I'm so glad they did not let her go down like this. Could they have been a little bit quicker? Yes, but I'm glad they showed up.
Harvard just got their first black president in history, and the world, America, already calling for her resignation. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is that stuff I'll be talking about. Everybody be like, oh, you go to Harvard. What's it like? What's it like? What's it like? Why are you even asking me what it's like? You ain't read a book? Or you ain't been black in America? Or you ain't got no black friends? Or you ain't got no black cousins? Or you never seen nothing before? You never watched a movie? You never watched a comedy sketch? You never just seen nothing? You never listened to a Kanye song? Like, you know what I'm saying? Any rap song for that matter? Anything? Have you heard anything? Because what it means to be black at Harvard is what it means to be black in America. Bro, I'm just a student. I pay to go to the school. You got a woman who's getting paid to be there and even want her there. So why do y'all think that they're going to want me there? That's a good question, ain't it? I mean, look, y'all. I done experienced so much craziness. You know, sometimes when you going through something, you don't really know what you're going through till afterward. I think this kind of one of them things for me. Like, I don't really even know what this is. You feel me? all the way. I just be reading James Baldwin, reading bell hooks, listening to Brother Cornel West. You know what I'm saying? Reading the teachings of Jesus, and I be like, dang, life not supposed to be like this, huh? I'm not supposed to go to class and be the only black person, right? That is not why Martin Luther King died. I'm just saying that's the truth. Like, he ain't die for that. So I'm confused. Like, what we doing? But what I'm supposed to do, I'm finna graduate. You know what I'm saying? I got a good life. You know what I mean? I have a phenomenal woman. I got good grades, kinda. Like, what up? I'm good. But I'm just saying, y'all out here, y'all see the way they treating this black woman on national television on a daily basis. Then you got the Penn president who done went on ahead and resigned because for whatever reasons, I won't try to assume the reason that this woman resigned, but I'm sad for her. You know what I'm saying? I'm sad with the people. I'm sad about all the stuff because it seemed just like, you know, if you messing with the wrong folks, you know what I'm saying, you just out of luck. And I'm sad about that. You know, I got to be real and say that's what made me sad, y'all. Regardless of what's going on at the school or at this school or at that school, your school, my school, I'm rocking with President Gay, man. I'm rocking with Claudine Gay. Man, that's my dog, man. I ain't, feel me? Like, and I hope she don't go like that. I hope she stay down, stand up for herself, for the people, and don't go like that, man. And when I say that, I just mean I want her to stay, because, you know, they trying to get her up out of there. But we need...
Ivy League presidents are facing backlash over their reaction to on-campus anti-Semitism, or in the minds of some of their critics, the lack thereof. Last week, University of Pennsylvania President Liz McGill, Harvard President Claudine Gay, and MIT President Sally Kornbluth were grilled over how their institutions responded to the rise in anti-Jewish hate since October 7th. Their carefully worded responses faced sharp criticism from lawmakers as well as the White House. After intense pressure from donors, politicians, and alumni, Penn President Liz McGill resigned after critics blasted her testimony, claiming she appeared to evade a question posed as a hypothetical of whether students who call for the genocide of Jews should be punished. Now, mind you, the questioner was Republican reborn MAGA Congresswoman Elise Stefanik of New York, a Harvard alum, and she presented no evidence that such calls for genocide had actually happened. But the answers from McGill and the other college presidents could best be described as academic and legalistic. And that became a huge score for the Congresswoman and a potentially job-threatening problem for the presidents. And while McGill did indeed lose her job, over at Cambridge, Harvard's governing board is backing its president, Claudine Gay. MIT's governing board is also standing by its president, Sally Kornbluth. But that's not the only noticeable shift in the fallout. Over the weekend, Saturday Night Live spoofed the hearing featuring Chloe Trost playing Stefanik.
Anti-Semitism, yay or nay?
I'm sorry, what?
Yes or no is calling for the genocide of Jews against the code of conduct for Harvard.
Well, it depends on the context.
What? That can't be your answer. I am here today because hate speech has no place on college campuses. Hate speech belongs in Congress, on Elon Musk's Twitter, in private dinners with my donors, and in public speeches by my work husband, Donald Trump.
Ding. But it's not just jokes. People are waking up to the fact that this attack on university presidents, for many on the right, is not actually about anti-Semitism. It's about the same old stuff we've seen in their fake CRT and book banning wars. It's the latest tack on wokeness on college campuses. The Murdoch-owned Wall Street Journal editorial board wrote a piece ostensibly about protecting Jewish students on campus. But then they gave away the game, calling anti-Semitism, by which it appeared to mean anti-Israel sentiment, just one example of a much deeper rot on campus. The deeper problem, the one that requires urgent attention, the Wall Street Journal says, is the, quote, anti-American, anti-Western instruction that dominates so many campuses, saying that these schools won't root out the DEI policies that use race, gender, and sexuality as political weapons to enforce intellectual conformity, dictate tenure decisions, and punish dissenters. The article also took issue with Harvard's Title IX training that says using the wrong pronouns qualifies as abuse. Oh, and let's not forget who these people are, the Republicans, that is. Their unchallenged leader, Donald Trump, has a long history with anti-Semitic tropes. They're down with Elon Musk and Mr. White genocide caused by Jewish Marxists, Tucker Carlson. It's the culture war stuff. That's what this is really about. Liz McGill, the former Penn president, was a constitutional law scholar who clerked for Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She took over as Penn's president only last July. Like most university campuses, Penn is entangled in the Republican anti-woke crusade to eliminate diversity programs, affirmative action, pronouns, trans people in sports, basically anything that doesn't fall in line with their narrow view of the world. Conservatives have been after McGill for a while, especially since transgender swimmer Leah Thomas switched from the men's varsity team at Penn to the women's team and won the NCAA 500-yard freestyle race. The school then nominated her for NCAA Female Athlete of the Year. Back in September, before the Hamas attack, Penn donors were already calling on McGill to resign over a Palestine Rights Literature Festival that took place on campus. Critics said the festival included speakers with a history of making anti-Semitic statements, but organizers and attendees rejected that claim. The ire against McGill isn't new, and there is a genuine debate going on in this country over whether opposing Israel or supporting Palestinians is itself anti-Semitism. But you know who's especially disingenuous? Moderate to MAGA Elise Stefanik, who again is a Trump supporter. Make it make sense. Up next, the outrage at Harvard, Penn, and MIT and its links to our creeping authoritarianism.
I am asking, specifically calling for the genocide of Jews. Does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
So the answer is yes.
It is a context-dependent decision, Congresswoman.
It's a context-dependent decision. That's your testimony today. Calling for the genocide of Jews is depending upon the context.
And that was the moment that ended Liz McGill's tenure as president of the University of Pennsylvania. McGill resigned just days after her congressional testimony on anti-Semitism drew fierce backlash from students, faculty, and especially donors. Joining me now is David Rothkopf, columnist for the Daily Beast and host of the Deep State Radio podcast. David, thank you for being here. In your view, you've written a column about the disingenuousness of the attack on these presidents. Why, in your view, would that not be a fireable offense to answer in that way?
Well, first of all, context does matter. No one was calling for genocide against the Jews. Some people were criticizing the policies of the government of Israel. Other people were calling for a Palestinian state that was contiguous between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. Now, in some contexts, doing things like that might be anti-Semitic. In some contexts, it might be hate speech. But in others, in a seminar discussing the origins, for example, of the current Israel-Palestine situation, it's not hate speech. And so her answer was right. But the real problem that we have here is not just that her answer was correct, it's that the person who was posing this hypothetical question is somebody who has supported replacement theory, has supported a president who is the one who said when there were marchers in Charlottesville who were saying Jews will not replace us, he said there were very good people there. She comes from a party that supports anti-Semitic tropes like the George Soros attacks that you hear so much of. And so you got to ask yourself, why is this person whose party has so many anti-Semitic subtexts saying that she is taking this stand? And the answer is they want to be able to bully people into fewer protections, not more. They don't believe in Islamophobia. They don't believe that people who are gay or who are lesbian or who have other alternative lifestyle choices should be granted safe spaces on campuses. And what they want to do is they want to bully that away or join up with donors and bully that away. And it's a good thing that the trustees at Harvard and at MIT rejected this effort and defended their presidents whose stances were actually exactly right.
Right. I mean, and at Harvard, literally, Claudine Gay had the backing of Lawrence Tribe and, Jason Furman, who's the economics professor, former chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, Pulitzer Prize winner, Annette Gordon-Reed. You could go on and on and on. People really lined up behind her to make sure she was protected. What does it say about the status of our sort of culture that a bunch of donors could line up and decide that they already wanted this UPenn president out anyway because they were mad about Leah Thomas or they were mad about DEI, and evict her essentially from her job?
Well, donors have always had disproportionate power at universities, but there has always been an understanding that the academic leadership there would have enough independence to guarantee freedom of ideas, to set rules that ensured that the academic discourse would be open and constructive. And all that was thrown out the window in the heat of the moment. And that's what we have to worry about. You know, we live in a time with social media where it's possible for feelings to spin out of control, public outcries to spin up, and that can lead in a moment to things like what happened at Penn with the firing of a woman who was an extremely distinguished lawyer, a distinguished academic who did not deserve this fate.
And to go back to your original point, I mean, it is very clear, and the Wall Street Journal just kind of admitted it, right, that what they really want is to reset universities, and they really want to do the same thing with K through 12 education, to what they call classic Western philosophy, which lauds the founders, which lauds, you know, sort of the old system of, you know, the dominance of their group of white Americans and of men, and that doesn't have all this messy stuff about race in it and all this messy stuff about LGBTQ. They just want back what you would learn in 1960. And that seems to be the bottom line, right?
Yeah, they want to sing from the white supremacist hymnal, and we know what it looks like. It looks like Florida. It looks like a state where you can't teach history, where you can't say the word gay in the classroom, where universities don't guarantee protections to professors who teach those things, where academic freedom is getting more and more constricted. And I think the thing we have to be aware of is that if Donald Trump is elected president, we're going to see more of this. We are going to see fewer freedoms on campus, less freedom of speech, fewer protections of people, the precise opposite of what they say they're fighting for.
Yeah, indeed. And that is the warning I think that people need to have and really need to understand, that this is political, because the other side thing that they want is to sort of marshal people who wouldn't ordinarily vote for Republicans and people like Trump into their camp. And they think they can do it this way. David Rothkopf, your piece is excellent. Hope everyone checks it out. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, that was a shift of events rather quickly. So this is Claudine Gay. She is the president of Harvard University, and she came under fire, getting a ton of backlash from donors, students, and other people alike for her testimony in Congress earlier this week. And when she was asked if she would condemn the anti-Semitism on her college campus, she refused to condemn those students. Well, since then, she has apologized over her testimony. I am sorry, Gay said in an interview with the Crimson on Thursday. That's the Harvard paper. Words matter. When words amplify distress and pain, I don't know how you could feel anything but regret. Gay said she sought to use her testimony before the House Committee on Education and the Workforce on Tuesday to highlight efforts underway at Harvard to combat anti-Semitism. Her remarks, however, only served to inflame criticism of Gay's response to reports of this on campus. The hearing lasted a total of 6 hours, and the part that went viral that she had to apologize for was when an official was asking her specifically to condemn the actions of some of the students on campus. So after the backlash, she goes on to say there are some who have confused a right to free expression with the idea that Harvard will condone calls for violence against Jewish students. Let me be clear. Calls for violence or genocide against any Jewish community or any religious or ethnic group are vile. They have no place at Harvard, and those who threaten our Jewish students will be held accountable. What's alarming about the whole situation is it took all of this backlash for people to actually turn course and do the right thing.
Harvard University President Claudine Gay has received the unanimous support of the school's governing board. The school was under intense pressure to fire its first black president, but it wasn't for the reasons we were told. Let's be clear, some of the people leading the charge are not focused on anti-Semitism, they're focused on race. Claudine Gay just became president of Harvard 3 months ago, but in the past few days she came under attack from a deliberate pressure campaign to drive her out of office because of ill-advised testimony she gave to a House committee last week. One of those campaigners is Elise Stefanik, the opportunity opportunistic Republican congresswoman from New York who claimed to be the most outraged at last week's hearing. But this week, Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin exposed her hypocrisy.
Somebody like Elise Stefanik has no problem going after Ivy League presidents. What about Donald Trump?
Where was Elise Stefanik during the Trump years when anti-Semitism, hate crimes, racism, and bigotry all began to rise? Did Elise Stefanik call for Donald Trump's resignation when he said there were very fine people on both sides in Charlottesville? Did Elise Stefanik call for Trump's resignation when he tweeted a critical post about Hillary Clinton with a Star of David over a pile of cash in his 2016 campaign? Did Elise Stefanik call for Trump's resignation when he said that Jews who support Democrats are disloyal to Israel? Did Elise Stefanik call for Trump's resignation when he blamed the victims at the Tree of Life Synagogue for not protecting themselves from the anti-Semitic hate crime that killed 11 people? Did Elise Stefanik call for Trump's resignation when he told a Jewish group,
"You're not going to support me because I don't want your money"?
Did Elise Stefanik even call for her colleague Kevin McCarthy's resignation when he claimed that Jewish billionaires George Soros, Tom Steyer, and Mike Bloomberg were trying to buy our elections? And she's a Harvard grad who's probably a little bit bitter that Harvard removed her from a prestigious advisory committee after she facilitated Trump's January 6th coup attempt by refusing to certify President Biden's election. But that's another story. We also have to look at Chris Ruffo, the anti-black, anti-LGBTQ, Fox News favorite, far-right conservative Republican who is leading the online campaign to demonize Claudine Gay. Ruffo, who did not graduate from Harvard College or receive a Harvard PhD, but attended a Harvard Extension School program, wants to make an example out of President Gay so he can attack critical race theory and DEI policies that are oppressing straight white men like him. Claudine Gay graduated from Phillips Exeter Academy, received a BA from Stanford, won the prize for Best Undergraduate Thesis in Economics, earned a PhD from Harvard, won another prize for the Best Dissertation in Political Science, became a professor at Stanford, then a professor at Harvard, then Dean of Social Science at Harvard, then Dean of Faculty at Harvard, and finally became president of Harvard. But the white guy who attended the Extension School thinks she only got her job because of DEI. There have been 30 Harvard presidents in its 387-year history. Several, like Derek Bach, Abbott Lowell, and Charles Eliot, did not have a PhD, but they were white guys, so they had to be qualified, even though women and people of color were not eligible to be considered for centuries. We can debate whether a PhD is even necessary to be a college president, but Claudine Gay has one from Harvard, and when you're black, you have to be twice as good to get half as far. Just look at how Barack Obama had to be president of a Harvard Law Review, a constitutional law professor, a best-selling author, and a United States senator just to be taken seriously, while Trump had to host a reality show. And consider the resentment that followed. How dare this black man be president of our country? How dare this black woman be president of our nation's most prestigious university? The point is, this is not about Israel. It's not about Harvard. It's not even about Claudine Gay. It's about a long-term right-wing strategy to make America great again by undermining education itself as elitist and turning back the clock on black people, women, LGBTQ people, and anyone who doesn't fit their narrow vision of America. That's why this is not the time for progressives to be divided and conquered. The Nazis and Klansmen who enable the right-wing politicians hate all of us, whether you're black, Hispanic, Asian, Jewish, Muslim, Israeli, Palestinian, immigrant, LGBTQ, or a woman with the audacity to want to control her own body. So no, this is not the time to cower in fear. It's time to wake up and fight back for justice.
So this is all I got from the stitches, and a very big shout out to everyone that spoke on this, except for the cone, which you all knew that is calling for her to resign. You know, actually people were calling for her to resign because she said what she said, and that is on period. I love what she said. I mean, shout out to black women doing what they know how to do best. How do you ask somebody this kind of question and you are expecting her to probably come up, like, you know, say no or something? Like she said, depends on the context, right? Depends on the context. Not you coming out to put words into her mouth. And also, why is it that the Jewish, all of a sudden, everything is anti-Semitic? Like when you say, even you all already know what is going on. You all know that what is going on in Palestine is very wrong and it is very bad. They always look for a way to put words into people's mouth and then call you anti-Semitic. That's why, if you notice, they have been signing so many bills. If you said that Israel do not have the right to defend themselves, you are also anti-Semitic. So who is not anti-Semitic? Now the Jewish are calling for her to resign. She is not going to resign, and I am so happy that also Harvard is also standing with her. And they said that there is no need for her to resign. I mean, like, her job is intact, because also a lot of people are kind of scared. And you all already know that she is the first Black woman to be the president of Harvard. I guess that is president of Harvard. You know, it's a great honor. And I am sure that she is deemed very fit also to be in that position. And also, even the woman that was sacked because of what she said, I am not sure she did not say anything wrong, because she also said depends on the context how you want it to be, because like now everything is all about the Jewish. If you said that they do not have the right to defend themselves, you are anti-Semitic. If you said that they have the right to be, like, what rights, what are you people even defending? Because there is nothing for them to defend. They are the ones instigating, or I mean, what everything that is going on, and then they run around to look for whom to sack, or run around to look for somebody to support them. I mean, you all already know what is going on. AIPAC is out there bribing everybody. Yes, bribing everybody, buying everybody's mind, buying their way into everything going on. What? So Jeffrey Mead thinks that he has a say in this. Sorry, bro. This is not for the coons, because for you to come out to say she deserves to resign, and it is just amazing how his TikTok is so anti-Black, and the fact that a full-grown man is out there supporting what Israel is doing, that even tells you a lot how brainwashed he is. She calling for her resign, like as if you got something great to say. Shut the hell up, Jeffrey. I said what I said. It's just, which reputation was he even talking about? That she run her own, which reputation did she run? That she spoke the right thing? Why are some people blind? I don't know how people are so blind. I mean, we can see white and black. I don't know. I am using color to, like, you know, to make example. This is white, right? This is like brown or gold, whatever you call it, right? And somebody is telling me that this is what color? Black. And you want to defend it. It's just really crazy, because I don't see how somebody wants to defend Israel. How do you want to defend genocide? How do you want to defend unaliving kids? How do you want to defend that? So a very big shout out to President Gay. I love her, and I am so happy, like, you know, she got that position, and I hope she, I mean, like, you know, her experience being the president is awesome. I know nothing comes easy. It comes with challenges, but I am wishing her the very best. I mean, I love her. I don't know her, but I love her. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.